All right, let's gear up for a deep dive today, prepping you for an aircraft maintenance engineer interview.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a whole bunch of RoleCatcher resources,
Okay.
things like career guides and sample interview questions,
Yeah.
and we're going to equip you to confidently navigate those sometimes
Right.
tricky interview scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to get us started, let's talk about what an aircraft maintenance engineer actually does. RoleCatcher's career guide, aircraft maintenance engineer, really breaks it all down.
Yeah.
It's not just about fixing things.
Yeah.
It's about making sure every flight is safe.
It is.
That's a big
Big
responsibility.
issues responsibility.
And, the guide mentions weight and balance calculations. That
Oh,
sounds pretty intense.
yeah, it's absolutely crucial.
Mm,
Before any aircraft can take off, the weight and balance has got to be precisely calculated, to make sure it's stable and safe during the flight.
okay.
It's a big responsibility and one that interviewers are definitely going to want to know that you understand.
Okay, so let's say you're in the interview and they hit you with this question
Okay.
from RoleCatcher's interview guide, aircraft maintenance engineer. The question is, describe a time you had to troubleshoot a complex issue with an aircraft component. So how would you suggest somebody tackle that question?
Well, this is your chance to really shine.
Mm-hmm.
You want to remember the STAR method: situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
And you want to start by really setting the scene.
Yeah.
Describe the problem you encountered. What was the aircraft? What component was giving you issues? What were the symptoms that you were seeing?
So don't just say, oh, I had a problem with the engine.
No, give them details.
Yeah, details.
Right. And then you want to explain the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
What were you specifically responsible for? And next, outline the actions you took to diagnose and solve the problem. Did you consult manuals? Did you have to use any diagnostic tools? Did you have to work with other colleagues, collaborate? Be detailed and specific.
And finally, what was the result?
Exactly.
Did you get that plane back in the air?
Exactly. You want to end on that positive note, highlighting how your actions led to that successful resolution.
Okay.
And just a tip, choose an example that really showcases your problem-solving skills, your technical knowledge, and your ability to work under pressure.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to another question that often comes up in these interviews.
Okay.
How do you prioritize maintenance tasks when working on multiple aircraft?
Yeah,
Now, that sounds like a real juggling act.
it can be,
Yeah.
especially when you have tight deadlines, limited resources.
Uh-huh.
The interviewer really wants to see how you handle pressure,
Okay.
how you prioritize effectively, and how you make sure that safety remains the most important thing.
Gotcha. So what's the key to really nailing this question?
You want to start by explaining your process.
Okay.
So, do you use a specific system for tracking your tasks and deadlines? Do you consult with your colleagues or supervisors to determine what is the most urgent thing?
Mm-hmm.
And then give them a concrete example.
Okay, so let's say you're working on two aircraft.
Okay.
One needs a routine inspection, and the other has a potential hydraulic leak. How would you decide which one to tackle first?
That's a great example.
Yeah.
In that scenario, you'd have to assess the severity of each issue.
Uh-huh.
A hydraulic leak, that poses a much more immediate safety risk.
Right.
So you would prioritize that aircraft while making sure that the routine inspection was scheduled as soon as possible.
Gotcha. So it's about showing that you can think critically.
Right.
You can make judgments based on, what are the safety needs, what are the operational needs.
Precisely. And don't forget to mention any relevant regulations or procedures that are going to guide your decision-making in that process.
Now, RoleCatcher's Career Guide, Aircraft Maintenance Engineer, also talks about different career paths within this field.
Yeah.
You could specialize in avionics or become a supervisor or even move into something like quality assurance.
That's one of the best things about this profession. There's so much room for growth and specialization,
Yeah.
and continuous learning is key. You're always going to be encountering new technologies and challenges, so it's really important to stay ahead of the curve.
The guide also mentions the importance of certifications, things like the FAA airframe and power plant certificate.
Oh, that's a must-have
Mhm.
for any aspiring aircraft maintenance engineer because it demonstrates your expertise and your commitment to the profession, and it opens doors to more specialized roles and higher-paying positions.
Okay, let's get back to interview questions.
Okay.
Let's say the interviewer asks, how do you ensure compliance with safety regulations during maintenance procedures? Now, this is obviously a big one in aviation.
It's huge. Safety is non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show that interviewer that you take it seriously and you have a system in place to ensure every procedure is performed according to regulations.
So don't just say, I follow the rules.
No, be specific. Talk about your process for reviewing maintenance manuals, checking for any updates to the regulations, double-checking your work.
What if they ask for a specific example? Something like, tell me about a time you had to stop a procedure because of a safety concern.
That's a great opportunity to show your commitment to safety.
Yeah.
Choose an example where you identified a potential hazard, even if it seemed minor at the time, and explain the steps you took to address it.
Yeah.
Highlight how you adhered to those protocols and your willingness to speak up if you see something amiss.
Okay. This is all really good stuff.
Mm.
And I know that RoleCatcher also has some AI-powered tools
Yes.
that can help candidates prepare, tailor their answers, and get feedback for specific job roles.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about that.
They have an interview questions repository that's really a game changer.
Okay.
You can input the job description and get AI-generated feedback on your responses,
Wow.
which can really ensure that you're hitting those key points that employers are looking for.
It's like having a personal interview coach
Exactly.
right in your pocket.
In your pocket, yeah.
Now, they also have a CV or resume builder.
They do.
How does that work?
It can help you create an application that really stands out, highlights your most relevant skills and experience, and ultimately increases your chances of getting noticed by those recruiters.
Okay, fantastic. We've covered a lot in this first part, but there's much more to unpack, so stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into aircraft maintenance engineer interview prep.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Ready for more on how to conquer that aircraft maintenance engineer interview?
Absolutely. Let's dive even deeper into those tough questions
All right.
so we can walk in feeling prepared and confident.
Okay, let's talk about a question that often trips people up.
Okay.
Describe a time you had to manage a complex maintenance project.
Now, this one, it seems like it's all about those project management skills.
It is, exactly.
Hmm.
They're not just looking for someone who can, wrench.
Right.
They want someone who can plan, organize, oversee a project from start to finish.
So what kind of example would you suggest our listener use when answering this question?
Choose a project that was particularly challenging. Maybe one with a tight deadline. Maybe you had unexpected obstacles.
So, for example, let's say you had to oversee a major engine overhaul
Okay.
while also dealing with a shortage of spare parts.
Okay. That's a great scenario.
Mm.
You'd need to highlight your ability to plan ahead,
Yeah.
anticipate potential problems, and come up with creative solutions.
So maybe you would contact other maintenance facilities
Yeah,
to try to source those parts, or you'd prioritize tasks in a certain way to
exactly.
keep the project moving forward.
And you'd need to communicate effectively with your team, your superiors, and even maybe suppliers to keep everyone informed and the project on track.
Now, I bet they might follow up with a question about dealing with setbacks.
Oh, yeah.
What if a critical part arrived, but it was damaged?
Well, that's where your problem-solving skills come in.
Yeah.
You'd have to explain how you assess that damage,
Mm.
determine the best course of action,
Okay.
and how you minimize any delays to the project.
So maybe you would expedite a replacement part
Uh-huh.
or adjust the project timeline.
Right.
Or maybe even come up with a temporary fix
Exactly.
while waiting for that new part to arrive.
It's all about demonstrating your ability to adapt to those changing circumstances and find solutions under pressure.
Speaking of pressure, let's talk about another question that often comes up.
Okay.
How do you handle stress and pressure in a fast-paced work environment?
This question is designed to gauge your resilience
Okay.
and your ability to stay calm and focused when things get hectic.
What's the best way to approach this one?
Honesty is key.
Okay.
Don't try to pretend that you never feel stressed.
Right.
Everyone does, especially in a demanding job like aircraft maintenance.
So you could say something like, I acknowledge that stress is a natural part of this job,
Yeah,
and I've developed strategies for managing it effectively.
exactly. And then give a specific example of a time you faced a stressful situation and explain how you coped. Did you take a few deep breaths? Did you prioritize your tasks? Delegate responsibilities? Or seek support from your colleagues?
It's not about, pretending you never get stressed,
Right.
but it's about showing that you can handle it constructively
Absolutely.
and maintain that high level of performance.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about teamwork.
Okay.
Interviewers will often ask about your experience working in a team environment.
Makes sense, because after all, aircraft maintenance is rarely a solo endeavor.
No.
You're always collaborating with mechanics, technicians,
Yeah.
engineers, supervisors.
A question like, Describe a time you had to work as part of a team to accomplish a challenging task that's almost guaranteed to come up.
So what kind of example should our listener use here?
Choose a situation that highlights your ability to communicate effectively, cooperate with others, and contribute to that shared goal.
So maybe a time when you had to work together to troubleshoot a complex electrical problem
Yeah.
or prepare an aircraft for a time-sensitive flight.
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
Be sure to emphasize your role in the team,
Mm-hmm.
the specific contributions you made, and how you all work together to overcome any obstacles and achieve success.
And don't forget to mention any positive feedback that you received from your team members or superiors.
Good point. It always helps to back up those claims with evidence.
Now, let's not forget about RoleCatcher's AI tools,
Oh, absolutely not.
which can be incredibly helpful in preparing for these interview questions.
They can. Their interview questions repository is a goldmine. It has thousands of practice questions, and you can even get AI-powered feedback on your responses,
Wow.
which is really like having a virtual interview coach at your fingertip.
That's incredible.
And don't underestimate the power of their CV or resume builder.
Mm-hmm.
It can really help you showcase those skills and experience in a way that catches the eye of recruiters and hiring managers.
All right, we're ready for another round of those challenging interview questions.
Let's do it.
What else do you have up your sleeve? We're back for the final part of our aircraft maintenance engineer interview prep, deep dive.
All right, let's do it.
We've gone through a lot, but we still have a few really important questions
Absolutely.
to make sure you're ready for anything.
Yep.
So let's talk about a question that can really throw people off.
Okay.
That dreaded salary question.
Oh, yeah.
What are your salary expectations?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough
It is.
because you want to know your worth, but you don't want to,
Right.
price yourself out of getting the
Right.
job.
Yeah, you got to find that balance.
Yeah. So what's your advice for tackling this question?
Before you even go into that interview, do your research.
Okay.
Sites like RoleCatcher or industry salary surveys can give you a good sense of what the average salary is
Mm-hmm.
for aircraft maintenance engineers with your experience level
Yep.
in your location.
So don't just throw out a number.
No, be prepared to justify your expectations.
Okay.
Highlight your skills, your experience, your certifications.
Any specialized knowledge that you bring?
Okay, so you could say something like,
Yeah.
based on my research and my experience in, let's say, avionics troubleshooting,
Yeah.
I'm seeking a salary in the range of X to Y.
Exactly. Be confident, but also flexible.
Okay.
Express that you're willing to negotiate, be open to discussing other benefits
Right.
like vacation time, professional development opportunities, things like that.
Now let's switch gears to a question that's all about showing your commitment to this field.
Okay.
Why did you choose a career in aircraft maintenance?
This is your chance to really let your passion shine.
Okay.
They want to see that you're genuinely interested
Yeah.
in the field, not just looking for a job.
So don't just say, I like planes.
No, tell them a story.
Yeah.
What sparked your interest? Was it a childhood fascination with flight? A family connection to the industry?
Mm-hmm.
Or a love of mechanics?
Yeah, maybe you built model airplanes as a kid.
Yeah.
Or you were always just fascinated by how engines work.
Yeah.
Exactly. Share those anecdotes. It
Mhm.
makes your answer more engaging and memorable, and then highlight what specifically draws you to aircraft maintenance. Is it that challenge of troubleshooting complex systems?
Yeah.
The satisfaction of keeping those planes safe? Or the opportunity to work with cutting-edge technology?
All right, let's get into one that I think a lot of people dread.
Okay.
The strengths and weaknesses question.
Oh, yeah.
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
It can feel like a trap.
It does.
But it's an opportunity to
No.
show that you're self-aware and that you're willing to learn and grow.
So when you're talking about your strengths,
Yeah.
make sure you're focusing on things
Mhm.
that are really relevant to the job.
Absolutely.
Things like attention to detail,
Yeah.
problem-solving skills,
Yes.
technical expertise,
Right.
teamwork, strong work ethic.
And when you talk about your weaknesses,
Yeah.
choose something that you're actively working to improve.
So instead of, that classic, I'm a perfectionist,
Right.
you could say something like,
Yeah.
I sometimes get so focused on the details that I lose sight of the bigger picture, but I'm working on, improving my time management and delegation skills.
That's a perfect example. It
Yeah.
shows that you're self-aware and that you're committed to improving.
And now we can't forget about RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools.
Of course not.
They can really come in handy when preparing
Mhm.
for these questions.
They have that interview questions repository, which is a goldmine.
Yeah.
You can input the job description and get that AI-generated feedback
Right?
to make sure you're hitting all the key points.
It's like having that virtual interview coach.
Exactly.
Available at any time.
Remember, preparation is key. The more you practice, the more confident you'll feel going into that interview.
And don't forget to research the company.
Yes.
Prepare some thoughtful questions
Mm-hmm.
to ask the interviewer.
It shows that you're engaged.
Absolutely. And dress professionally.
First impressions matter.
They do.
I'll leave you with one final thought. Remember that the interview is a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
It's your chance to assess whether the company and the role are a good fit for you.
That's a great point.
So go in there with confidence, be yourself, and let your passion for aircraft maintenance shine through.
That's great advice.
Good luck.
And remember, all the resources we talked about today are available on RoleCatcher.
They are.
So head over there, do your homework, and good luck with those interviews.